On this edition of the Just in Time podcast with Justin Kutcher.
You get to play with Kobe Bryant. Like, let's wrap your mind around that. Like, you about to play with, one of the GOATs. My mother and my grandmother, they told me, you going with him. I was like, okay. All right, cool. I'm going to UConn. T-Mac in his prime before the back injuries and the knee injury, like,
nasty.
He was one of the most lethal scorers ever. Shaq coming to Miami. And I was like, oh, we cooking now. And I was like, who has to leave?
The greatest sports moments happen in seconds, but the stories behind them are timeless. Dive into the mind of the icons who live those moments. No filters, just authentic conversations about the moments that define careers. I'm Justin Kutcher, and this is the Just in Time podcast. Welcome to another edition of the Just in Time podcast with Justin Kutcher. I'm joined now by a guy who played 14 years in the NBA, two-time All-Star, now an assistant coach with the Miami Heat, and one of my former broadcast partners with the Washington Wizards, a guy that I'm lucky enough to call a friend, Caron Butler. Caron, man, so great to have you here, and thanks for joining me.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for having me on.
So do you remember our first game that we called together?
Shit, I think. What game was that?
Okay, so it was 2019.
Okay.
The Wizards home opener against the Houston Rockets, same night as Game 7 of the World Series between Houston and DC. And the funniest part is that we never got a chance to meet before we went on the air.
We just
Yes, and dude, I don't know if it's the UConn thing or what, but we just connected, and it was I felt like we had called 40 games together. I had so much fun.
Likewise, man, it was just like an organic transition. I remember working with Spectrum, NBA TV as well, and then just flying in and meeting you for the first time and just going right to it, and we didn't miss a beat.
No, it was so much fun, and obviously Drew Gooden was the guy who was there most of the time. You were there some of the time, and I was just so lucky to work with both you guys because both you guys are such good people. And for me, Drew's a Kansas guy, but you're a UConn guy, and that was my team growing up. And so I want to go back to those UConn days because I had a chance to have Coach Calhoun on the podcast.
I saw that,
and man, he could not say enough great things about you. But he told me a story that was really cool. When he went to go recruit you in Racine, Wisconsin, and a police officer stopped him and he's like, "Are you here to recruit the Butler kid?" He's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Ignore his past. He's a really good kid."
Damn.
And he's like, that police officer didn't have to do that, but he reached out to me and it spoke volumes about you. Did you know that story, one? And two, how does that make you feel?
It's crazy because Calhoun literally just flew down here with his lovely wife about 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. We had dinner, both of our wives, a couple friends of the program, and we just was sitting chopping it up, and we actually talked about that story. And one, I did not know that the officer had told him that, but I was really shocked that he actually came to Racine. And this is at a time where, gang violence was really heightened and crazy. It still is, but it was at a different level at that point. And he was told not to come there.
Really?
Yeah, he was told that it was unsafe not to come. But he also told me that it was very important for me and my family to see him there. And he came by himself, came to the neighborhood, came watch me play basketball, talked to everyone that was in the proximity of the gym. And as he left, he was like, once you come to UConn family, you family for life. And that was the sales pitch. And everyone else came with a sales pitch of, we can do this for you, we can do that for you. And obviously, the history of that, if you can be bought, you can be sold. But he came from a whole different angle. And that's why my family loved him, and they said, "Hey, you going with him?"
So your family told you were going with him.
Yeah, my mother, and my grandmother, first two women in my life that I ever, loved. Uh, they told me, "Hey, grandson, son, you going with him?"
I
And
love
and
it.
and when they speak on things like that, I had no rebuttal. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, cool. I'm going to UConn.
And then he went on to tell me more and more about you. And dude, we got some time together, but we never really got to talk about your UConn days.
Mhm.
But I did share with you something that I wrote when I was in college, when you had declared for the NBA draft, that I thought you should go early. He told me that he had to basically force your hand to go early. You did not want to leave UConn.
I was coming back. I was 100% coming back, and he told me,
Why?
everything that he said about the university. That once you come here, your family. Um, I wanted to continue to, you know, finish what we started and winning a championship. I felt like we was right there on the cups of doing it, and I really did feel it. And you have to feel this way about yourself, but I felt that I was the best player in the country, and I felt like I had the best supporting cast in the country, led by the best coach in the country. So, and, I mean, I think if it didn't happen that year, it was going to happen the following year. And I was like, okay, we made it to the Elite Eight. Juan Dixon, Steve Blake, those shots don't go in. A couple Hail Marys, like we're right there in the thick of things. And I'm like, I'm coming back. He's like, called me in the office. He said, you have to leave. You have to leave. I'm kicking you out. You have to go. He literally told me that in his office, and I started crying. He said, "You got to go." And like most people would be like, "Man, you was crying. You about to be a millionaire." And I like to me, like I always felt like I was a millionaire already because I was doing something that I love, and I found great joy in being on a college campus, and I was, furthering my education. I met the girl of my dreams, my wife Andrea, while I was at UConn. So I had it all. So I already felt like a millionaire.
That's crazy. That's awesome too. And so you declare for the NBA draft. And he said to me, he's like, he had to go. He's going to be a top 10 pick. He's going to be a lottery pick. He's 22 years old. You've got to go. They want 18, 19-year-olds. And you were a lottery pick, 10th pick overall, Miami Heat. And it's weird how it comes full circle because now you're back coaching with Miami. But you just said something before about becoming a millionaire. And from your background, before we got to the basketball talk, when you signed that contract and you realize, like, you know what, money is no longer going to be an object. Like, it's not going to be something that holds me back. What what was that like? Like knowing that you could take care of your family. Hey, Karan.
The internet. Bay, the internet went out. Yeah, the internet went out.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Okay, no worries. It's all good. I'll pick it up and we'll edit it out. It's all good.
All right.
All right, 3, 2. Let's go back to something you just said about being a millionaire. And when you got drafted and you signed that contract, before we talk about the actual basketball part of things, from your background, when you signed the contract and realize you are now going to be a millionaire, what was that feeling like, knowing that you can take care of your family, that money is no longer going to be an issue?
Uh, I had some what I did realize immediately. That's a great question, but when you get in that position where you can take care of your family, now money is the biggest issue.
Mm.
You know, so I think the authentic love and the organic emotions that you just feel, and the simple camaraderie that exists when money isn't the static or the common interest. Um, it is it's different, but I was mature enough to process that and understand that because of my background and because of my experiences that I had at a younger age, where I knew that I wasn't going to put or ever put money at the forefront. That the values that I had was to take care of my family, obviously, but to create my own little family. I already had started. I had a daughter when I got drafted back in '02. My daughter was already 7 years old, um, going on 8. And, I had a son as well. So, and then me and Andrea was starting our own little family. So I was just focusing on like making the right decisions and putting myself in the best position possible to, build generational wealth. And just, I had to unlearn a lot of things and I had to relearn a lot of things. And I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to leave UConn, is because I had a lot of wealthy, wealth-minded, wealth thinkers around me that was just pouring insight into me, and the information that I was receiving, I couldn't get enough of it.
Okay, so we have to just jump ahead right to it, because you have become like an entrepreneur. You've got these different business ventures. Is that all from those people at UConn that kind of planted the seed in you, or was it something else?
Yeah, I think it's when I grew up, I always had like the mentality of an entrepreneur. You know, I saw the mechanic that worked at J.I. Case company that worked in the factory line that built engines for tractors, but he also was the local mechanic on the weekends. And oh yeah, by the way, in the evenings he was the barber. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays he was the barber for the neighborhood kids. So I'm like, oh man, he got 3 hustles, so that's cash flow. That's pretty dope. Oh yeah, he works at the restaurant too. He's in the kitchen also, so it's just like, damn, like he got 4 jobs. Like that's amazing. And then he collect, aluminum on the weekends too. Like you can recycle your goods and he's getting money off that as well. So I always saw that. So I saw the positive hustles, I saw the negative hustles as well, people out there selling drugs and stuff like that. And that's where like my entrepreneurial mindset really like sparked. And then all of a sudden I go to UConn and I'm hearing about the Dow and I'm hearing about, how you invest and, stock options, what holds, what doesn't, late stage companies, early stage companies, getting in at the beginning and you can 10x this. And I'm like, what is, like, it's a foreign language. And I'm at prep school and I'm hearing these conversations. I had a host family, the McKay family. They had 3 different houses and they're like, oh yeah, we stay at this house, but this is, we do staycations and we also have the lake house. And I'm like, how you manage to have these things? And they're like, oh, just you do timeshare, you do. So I just start learning how to make money work for you in so many different ways and different facets. And that was intriguing to me. And that's how my mind just started really going and end up being a great asset going through those experiences.
So did all these business ventures start during your playing days? Were you already busy getting into that?
Real estate. one of the first things I ever did was start buying properties in the state of Wisconsin, particularly in Racine, is because uh, I can't remember a time where I didn't come home and I didn't see a pink slip on the door, eviction notice or something. So we always thought, all right, second time, the second we get some money, I'm buying this house. I will buy it from this landlord. And I always had a vendetta towards the landlord because he always put the pink slips, but he was just doing his job. Like, he wanted his rent. And I guess we was lousy tenants because we never could keep up and pay. But I was just like, all right, that's the first box I got to check, and that was the first order of business that we did. We started buying affordable housing, and it became a thing. And after you do that, you accumulate a lot of properties over 4 or 5, 6 years, and it start getting a lot of cash flow from it. And all the little bits added up rather quickly.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now I know you're doing hotels, among other things. I've stayed in some of your hotels before I even knew they were your hotels. So
We
it's
got the
just,
old
it's
Nathan
really,
Hale now, the graduate, the old Nathan
yeah.
Hale, yeah, it's the graduate.
So that one, I stayed at the Graduate in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Is that one yours too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Seattle.
I've stayed at so many of them. It's crazy. I mean, even I stayed at the one in Cincinnati. Oh gosh, it was probably during basketball season, and I got a room card, and on my room card was Travis Kelce, and
Oh,
I was like, "That's hilarious!" Like, well played.
I'm crazy. I'm tripping that you didn't have Jim Jackson on it because
Oh,
we used his image a lot in
did
Ohio.
you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right, that's good to know. I'll have to ask him about that. Because if I get a Jim Jackson room card, I don't know if I could use that. We could talk business, but I know people on this podcast are probably going, "Wow, I didn't realize we're gonna have Caron Butler talking business right now." I want to talk some basketball stuff though with you because let's go right to the NBA. And when you get drafted by Miami, you have a good rookie year, and you guys have a good young group forming there. Did it feel like college because you had a young core, or did it feel more like a job?
Uh, it felt loose. Like Pat Riley, the Godfather, he did a great job at just making sure that we was able just to have like a free flow, like surgence of like just the youth movement. Like, you felt it. Like, initially when I got there as a rookie, you had Zoe, Jim Jackson just left, um, Fonzo Ellis, Eddie Jones. So it was a little more vet driven, Brian Grant. But then once myself, God rest his soul, Rasul Butler, and then we drafted D Wade the following year, Lamar Odom. That's when things just like kind of shifted, and Pat Riley kind of changed it to be a little more fast paced, a little quicker, kind of to the needs of how we wanted to play.
Mhm.
So it did feel like college a bit.
So you start getting comfortable, and then Pat Riley pulls off one of his huge deals, and he ships you, I think Brian Grant, Lamar Odom, out to LA to
Shocking.
get Shaq.
Yeah, that was shocking. I tell this story all the time. I would have traded myself for Shaq. Like, that's a great business move. We was talking business. That's a great business move. But I did ask him because I was on that trip to Antigua. Me and my wife was in Antigua for the Miami Heat doing a basketball camp with
Oh my gosh.
one of the Heat legends, Wally. He does all the camps. Him and Tony Tarantino, and we're out there. We get back, and this is at the time where Sports Center is like always on every television tube in the airport. And they're like, Shaq coming to Miami, Shaq coming to Miami. And I was like, oh, we cooking now. We cooking. And I was like, oh shit, like who has to leave?
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, D Wade, go. And like, no, no, no. you, Lamar. I'm like, oh man. It was just like crazy because I never was on the business side of basketball in that way. I thought that, just like UConn, I was gonna be there forever. And, the trade happened and went to LA, and it ended up working out for both of us in the long run, but it was a trying time. I was really hurt when I got traded.
Yeah, I can imagine. I feel like that's when, as an athlete, you realize it's a business. The first time you get traded or the
Yeah.
first time you're a free agent, it becomes a business.
I didn't I didn't have no one. I have a great agent, my same agent, 25 years. Um, he didn't know how to explain it to me outside of, hey, this happened every day. It means you got value, and like the he just didn't like. He's like, I really thought you was going to be here for a long, long time. He's like, I really don't have the words for you, but let's get back on the saddle. Let's stay working, and holy shit, you get to play with Kobe Bryant. Like, let's wrap your mind around that. Like, you about to play with, one of the goats. Like, you gotta wrap your mind around helping him, and how can you be an asset to, what they're trying to do going forward, and being one of the cornerstones of the franchise going forward out there. And I just had to wrap my mind around that part.
I'm glad you brought up Kobe because I feel like for you and I, a lot changed for us on that horrific day. But for you, getting to go to LA, you told me that you and Kobe became like brothers.
Right.
But how? Because I feel like Kobe, everyone talked about that exterior shell and it was hard to break. How did you break it, or how did he bring you in?
I think the thing is, and the same reason why me and Calhoun clicked so well is because we don't listen to the opinions of others. We kind of want to go off our own vibes and, you know, assess people and make our own assumptions or opinions from our personal experiences. And when I got out there, everybody's like, oh, don't, like, the man is human. Like, don't look him in the eyes and don't talk to him. And I'm like, what? Like, what the hell are y'all talking about? Like, bro, like, don't go to his press conference and don't, like all the, I'm like, man, I'm about to go to the press conference. I'm about to go meet him, go talk to him, ask him, can I work out with him? And that's how I approached it. And everyone else was just so hesitant. And, the second at his press conference, he signed the largest deal at the time in the NBA, 135, $36 million. And he turned to us and it's like, hey, let's get ready to fucking black out. Let's work. And I was like, hey, I want to work with you. Like, that's what I've been waiting on. And that's what we did. We just worked out. After about 2 weeks in, it was just me and him. It started with a group. I didn't put no names on it, but the group turned into just two people. And I was always with him. Every city we went to, I was in the gym with him. In the mornings, uh, flying in the cities late night, 2, 3 in the morning, finding gyms, going to gyms, shooting, weightlifting, film sessions. Like, we was just always together, stepping out on our leisure time. We spent that time together, our quality time amongst our families, our kids, like, just always together. So that's how that relationship just formed rather quickly.
So that work ethic, because Kobe's work ethic is legendary. I mean,
Haven't seen anything. I've seen it in pockets with two guys. Well, actually three now. Dirk, obviously, Gilbert Arenas. He was relentless with his work ethic. I have to give him that. And obviously Kevin Durant. When I was with OKC, he had the same type of, I got to get in the gym. I got to get in the gym. Going to the stadium as they put the floor down and shooting in the gym late night and they picking the floor back up. The workers come back, pick the floor up, like all that stuff. Like, I witnessed it firsthand with Kevin Durant as well. And that's how Kobe was. He always wanted to shoot on the main floor. They had to put the floor down for him so he can get his game shots up. And that's why he always was in a rhythm for the most part.
did you feel like you had to be there every step of the way because you thought if you weren't, he would drop you, like you're out of it?
Nah, I didn't feel that, even though that probably that probably could have happened. But I didn't feel that. But I just felt like I knew I was part of. You ever go somewhere and and I know you get this because you've been on the call for so many games, and you like, yeah, what I'm watching right now, this isn't mediocre. Like this is
Right.
once in a lifetime type of experience. And I've had the luxury over 16 seasons and now 25 years as a coach now too, adding that time on to witness some things that I'm like, all right, this is some once in a lifetime type stuff we're experiencing right now. The playoff run that I saw with Jimmy, more recent thing as a coach, seeing Kevin Durant, OKC, Russell Westbrook, those guys, like I'm like, all right, this is different. Like this talent all being assembled on one team is this is different. This is once in a lifetime type situation. Lob City with the Clippers.
Yep.
I was like, all right, this is not normal. This is something I'm a part of that's just is different. You know, Gilbert hitting shots and turning around before they go in. I was like, all right, this is different. Dirk, he got the silhouette on the floor in Dallas, man.
Yes.
One leg jumper. I'm like, one of the best final runs ever. This is different. And everything that Pat Riley, the godfather of the game, was teaching me here in Miami and to see it in Kobe. Like, all right, give me the ball right here. I'm about to hit the game winner. Everybody go over there. Like, in the huddle before he hit the game winner. Like I knew that I was watching history and living history and I was a part of history every day. I wasn't immune to that. So I was appreciating the greatness, but also appreciating the education of being a student. Even though I'm a pro as well, I'm still a student because that's big bro and I'm learning from it. So I was just like, man, I was just still like understanding that. I was
How
present.
hard?
I was always present mentally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How hard were those workouts?
I,
Like, would you be throwing up?
I wouldn't throw up, but I saw spots. That's why they call it blackout. Because you would go you come in and get your spot shots, 7 spots, 30 to 50 makes, and then you start doing like counter moves. You do the jab step, you do a counter to the jab step in each of these spots, these 7 spots, and then you start running in from half court and then doing it from um, the advantage of like you're on the move now. So everything you did, you started stationary, you started with the the counter, and then you started with the conditioning with the counter and the move, and then at the end you did live basketball, and then you went back, you worked it backwards, and that's why it was called the blackout because it probably took you 2.5 hours to get through it, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and then we came back and did it again and that was our tour days. And that's what we did every day in the summer. And I was just like, this is crazy.
How much better do you think you got?
I knew I wasn't going to be an all-star. He told me
Really?
that too. He was like, hey, you're going to be an all-star. He missed like 18 games. And I think in those 18 games where he was out with the Lakers, he had a significant ankle injury. He said, all that work what we put in, that sweat equity, show everybody what we've been doing. And he just was on the sideline gassing me up, egging me on. I got like pictures of him on the sideline with the Donovan McNabb Eagles jersey, and he's like in my ear, hey, all right, next time, rip through baseline, pivot. They ain't gonna be ready for that. Shot fake, go back the other way. And he was just like reading the game, and I was just a student just learning from him during the course of that run. And even though we had lost like a lot of games, like the gain was I got so much better. I knew I was an all-star after that. And that's exactly what happened when I went to Washington. I immediately made the all-star team and, did it multiple times. And I knew that, I was an asset to whatever situation, all because of that experience.
So you go to Washington, you become a two-time All-Star. You guys get a pretty good group together, and you're starting to make some runs. How much would you talk to Kobe when you were no longer teammates?
Always.
Really?
Yeah. Like, except for on game days, if we had to play them.
I was,
Yeah, like our line of communication was down. But Gilbert knows, and Antoine and all like when Gilbert had 60, Kobe immediately called me before the plane took off, and he was like, "Hey, you tell him next time, 50. Tell Gilbert 50. And I'm going to guard him. Tell him to guard me like I guard him. Gilbert was like, no, man, you go guard him. He said, I'm going to score buckets. You guard him. But, yeah, it was, we always stayed in the steady line of communication. And, even his last dance, like we always got together, went to dinners and just connected, chopped it up. That was one thing that he would do too. Like when he fly into a city, come have dinner with me, just talk about life, catch up about the kids and stuff like that. But on game day, no conversation.
Would he say hi to you on the court?
We always embrace each other.
Just like real quick, boom.
Big hug right before the game, but no talking. Just big hug, like, then it's like, all right, I'm about to, whatever. I might foul you, might jump on your neck, whatever, but it's all love.
Would you do it to him?
Yeah. I fouled him super hard multiple times. Yeah, because it was different being on that island with him because a lot of people didn't want to be in the shot or in the picture with him. He's going for 40 or 50 every time. So it's like, all right, I'm just trying to stay out of that as much as possible. And me, I'm like, all right, I'm just not going to let him score. If he get the advantage, I'm just going to wrap him up real quick and make sure he don't get the shot off. So in order to do that, I had to foul him hard.
And he never said a word.
We no talking. Except for one time, it's a famous story out there. I ended up fouling him real hard on a break, and I stopped the break or picked up a foul, and he came up to me and he was like, why? It wasn't him I fouled somebody else. And he was like, why would you foul him? You should have just let him score. I'm like, what are you talking about? That was 2 points. He's like, but you need all 6 of your fouls to guard me. Why would you use one foul on that? Like, and that was the one I was like, damn, like I didn't even think about that. I do need all my fouls to guard him. But he was always like playing that mind game with you. But that was the only time he ever spoke on the court to me. And me and him was like this, but we would never talk on the court.
See, I wonder how much of that, like you said, like he's your big bro, right? Like he was your big brother. And he would talk about Michael Jordan being his big brother. Like I wonder, was that like the lineage, right? Like Michael to Kobe, Kobe to Caron. Like, was that what it was?
100%, man. Like I had a very, very like special relationship with him. Like even him coming back to Racine and spending time at the house with the family. And, every time he came back to Milwaukee, he always left tickets for my kids to come to the games, even though I wasn't obviously there. I had a son that was still playing locally, and he used to always, leave him tickets, meet him after the game, take pictures with him. He was just, a great dude, and, my voice, like during a lot of these interviews and these remembrance of him, like I don't get out there too much because I always ask Vanessa, like, what is this something that you're clearing, like the CNN doc and some other things that have been presented and packaged and put out there? She was like, nah, I don't have nothing to do with that. And because I don't have anything to do with it, the real love, the real energy, and the real connections, I prefer that y'all just, don't even share that on those platforms. And that's why I've never participated in any of those trend things out of requests.
So just to give everybody kind of a backstory here, on that awful day when Kobe passed, you and I were in Atlanta to do the Hawks Wizards game. And just everybody was torn up. And I remember being on the bus with you because we were like, you wanted to take the early bus. I was like, sure. And then I got the phone call. I got a text when I was in the shower. Like, is this true? And I get on the bus and you were sitting a couple seats behind me. And I thought to myself, I'm like, wait a minute. Caron was teammates with Kobe. And I just sent you a text being like, hey, bro, like, you okay? And we got off the bus. I waited for you. I gave you a hug. And then you began talking to me about your relationship with Kobe. I was like, I had no idea. And that night, we flew to Milwaukee.
Uh-huh.
And that was the only time that you flew with a team, was that game. And usually I sleep every flight, take off to landing. But that night, I stayed up. And the two of us were just talking, and you were telling me stories. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, everyone lost Kobe. Caron just lost his best friend, his brother. And you said to me that night that the only reason why I'm, going back and doing these interviews is because Vanessa said she wanted you to do those interviews. And that was the only reason. And it stuck with me, man. Like, all these years later, I remember it like it was yesterday. I don't know. There was just something really powerful that night about that, the conversation that we had. And then just talking to you right now, like, I didn't mean this to go down this Kobe rabbit hole, but what I did think about you just talking was there weren't a whole lot of people, I imagine, in Kobe's inner circle. And there weren't a whole lot of people that Kobe could just be Kobe with, like, be himself. You were one of those guys.
100%. And I enjoyed that because I let my guard down around him as well. Where, thinking about the therapeutic route of writing a book and going through that process, and him doing the forward on the book and everything, like, he led me down that path to, really impact lives and try to, encourage kids to be the better version of themselves. And he talked about this basketball universe on his farewell tour. And we was at dinner. I think it was at Ruth's Chris or Morton's in Sacramento. And I had like a little private room for us. He's like, "Oh, let's sit in the middle. Let's sit in front of around everybody. Let's just vibe. And, let it be noisy. Let's just kick it." And we around everyone, people coming in, they try to take pictures, and we just talking, having the time of our life. But we was talking about our kids and, writing books and how our second act's going to be, far greater and better than our first acts. And, he inspired me to do what I'm doing today because he was doing it at the highest level. Already won an Oscar, Dear Basketball, putting out content, bestseller, making a huge impact in the female basketball space. And those are all the things that he talked about at that table. And there I am talking about my second act and about being a philanthropist and doing stuff in the community, doing these things with the kids. And I was like, man, hopefully one of my little girls, love the game of basketball and they pursue it. And then I'm not the one pushing them down that path. And lo and behold, the baby girl, who I never thought would care about basketball, is the hooper.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she is the one. Like, she is the one that loves the game of basketball, 13 years old. And I can't not get a ball out of her hands. So she loves it. We just got back from Alabama. So it's crazy how those things come to fruition, how they work. And I can just kind of hear his voice in my head all the time when I'm doing these things, when I'm at book signings, when I'm coaching on the sideline with our players, when I'm coaching my daughter, when I'm coaching my daughter team. I can just, like, I know I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
Thank my brother for that.
So now you're back in the right place. You're back in Miami,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it all began.
Yeah, full circle.
And you also told me that when you were a rookie, you and your wife, like, hung out in the front office. Like, you had no one else to go to.
Yeah. Andy Ellisberg, Tim Donovan, Rob Wilson, Shivani DSI, yeah, everybody. And all the people still here.
Right. So what was it like for you to go back and now be a coach? But that first time you stepped back into the office and now you're Coach Caron, but all those people are still there because Miami has this family type atmosphere.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's family, it's real, it's authentic. And I didn't know what to expect when I first came back. I just knew that it was a box that I always wanted to check. And, you've gotten to know me like really well. Like there's certain things that I want to do, I'm going to do them. Um, I'm relentless in my efforts in making those things happen. And that was something I was passionate about. I said, before I leave, I have to, one, be assistant because that's the stepping stone forward and eventually be a head coach in this game. And that's what I have to do. Those are the boxes I have to check. And Miami was just the best spot to go to here in San Antonio. They get it right. They do it right. They take care of their own. And got a lot of Miami and San Antonio disciples out there that's doing well in the coaching space. So Miami accepted me back with open arms, gave me an opportunity, and try to continue to flourish.
Okay, so you said be a head coach. You've got all these other business ventures. Have you ever thought just when you get that chance? Notice I didn't say if. I said when you get that chance to be the head coach for whatever team it is. How do you manage being a head coach and your other business stuff?
I think the beautiful thing about everything that we're involved in is that I don't have to physically be there.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about our businesses, and that's the beautiful thing about also like being in partnerships with different folks that run your stuff. So I've allocated my life appropriately in order to see this thing through as one assistant coach, which is very time consuming and demanding, and then eventually a head coach someday, which is going to be even more time consuming and demanding. And, being a full time dad as well, like with a daughter that's an avid Hooper, so I've been juggling for a long time. I have 5 kids,
She's
4
going to
girls.
keep you in shape, dude. She's going to
Yeah,
keep you in
yeah.
shape.
So, hey, I'm all in, man. A lot of sleepless nights, but we all up for it.
She's going to be like, Dad, let's go. We're running suicides. Let's go. Let's go.
Yes. Always. That's what we're going tonight. That's what
Are
we're
you?
going tonight. Yes, yeah. That I got the hard. I told you I got the hard 7:30. She's like,
Yep.
look, we gotta go to the gym. I got the shots. I'm like, okay, I can do it right after I holler at Jay, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna take you over there. She's like, okay, so I got to get that work in.
Hey, I respect that. I'm going to keep that hard 7:30 out just for her. I want to just touch on real quick, Tough Juice, the nickname. Eddie Jordan gave it to you when you were with the Wizards, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Why? How'd that happen?
Yeah, I pretty much played through everything. Uh, Collarbone, broken hand, what they call it, Lazarus, Lazar fracture or whatever. I don't know, torn labrum, you name it, I had it. Playing like I was logging the most minutes in the NBA or second most minutes, and I just just get banged up. I played a physical ball game, and one time I had one injury, and they said I was going to be out 2-3 weeks or something like that. And I went through the walkthrough, and I was like, man, you know what, I'm gonna play. They're like, you can't play. They said the doctor said you out 2-3. I said, no, I'm gonna play. I can play, and I'm going to play. And I played, and he said, you a tough mother.
Yeah.
They started calling me Tough Juice. That it kind of stuck, and then I knew it stuck once that we was playing Boston, and KG was over there, and KG loved talking to himself. He's like, "Tough Juice, huh? Yeah, yeah, Tough Juice, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's my name, dog." Like, yeah, okay, everybody know now, so everybody knew what it was, and and it kind of just stuck.
I love it. I love it. KG, he was always known to keep his mouth quiet during games. Um, so
He's a
that will
dog.
lead me to this.
One of the most underrated trash talkers ever.
Okay, so this is a perfect segue. I like to do on all the podcasts a segment called This Just In. So rapid fire questions. Best trash talker you played with or against?
Best trash talker I played with, Kobe Bryant, hands down. Settled trash talk, and then he backed it up. It's so calculated.
So the subtleness was, what are you doing fouling that guy? You need all 6-year fouls for me.
Yeah, all that. But some guys, he had just he'd make that little noise. Everybody that played in the the early 2000s, late 2000s know that noise. That mean the Mamba out there getting loose. He just look at you and just be like slap you on the butt, be like, "Hey man, you did a great job. That was great defense." And it was just so deflating as a defensive player, knowing that you burnt 100 calories in that one possession to try to guard them, and you just couldn't stop
Outside of Kobe, who's the hardest guy yet to guard?
the hardest guy I had to guard outside of Kobe, probably T-Mac. T-Mac was tough. I remember us playing against Orlando. It was opening night. I think he had like 24 points in the first half. And, I mean, we literally did everything. We blitzed them. We doubled them. We showed. We did a drop coverage. None of it worked. He was hitting shots from everywhere. Like, T-Mac in his prime before the back injuries and the knee injury, like,
Nasty.
he was one of the most lethal scorers ever. Ever.
Dude, you think about combinations that could have stayed together. T-Mac and Vince Carter, had they stayed together in Toronto,
They would have won some things.
like Penny and Shaq.
They would have won some things.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it like, I mean, Stephon Marbury and KG.
They would have won some things. At some point, they would have won.
Like it's pretty crazy. All right, how about the game, whether it's high school, college, NBA, that you think about and you replay in your head the most?
I would have to say I had a 40-point game in Milwaukee, and the reason I replay it the most because it was like a hometown kid being back in Wisconsin, and this is at a time where you can get tickets for $3 for a Bucks game, and I bust in like probably 4 or 5 busloads of kids. They used to ask me to do it. They used to be like, "Caron, please help us. Like, eat the Bucks. Like,
Right.
please bring the whole Racine. Like,
Yep.
fill out the arena." And Herb Cole used to make it very, uh, easy for me to make that happen. So I bust in kids and everything. So long story short, I had a lot of like 400 people there watching the game, and I just had the game of my life, just balled out. And I felt like that was one of the games that I could easily replay back in my head like a million times because people still talk about that to this day. Like, hey, you bust us in. We had the time of our life. Saw the hometown kid go out there, put up numbers. It was just a special, special game.
Yeah. How about your favorite, the guy that you wanted to get a dunk on and you dunked on him?
Yao Ming. I got him in Houston. Uh, I told, I forget who I told I was going to dunk on. We was in Washington, and I told somebody, I said, I'm going to catch him today. I said, I'm going to catch him because every time on the baseline, he comes over. Like, he turns his back, and he turns like this. So I was like, I'm going to catch him right when he going like this. And that's exactly what happened. I took the baseline real quick. Might have been Chuck Hayes or somebody guarding it, closed out a little bit too hard, and I just immediately the first dribble and just caught him.
You go one hand or you go two?
Yeah, one hand. I was always the leaner.
Yep.
Yeah. So quick one dribble. I got on the power pads, took off.
What'd you feel like afterwards?
And like I just climbed the Great Wall, man. Climbed the Great Wall.
Oh, that's very appropriate. All right, you played in a bunch of different cities. Favorite restaurant to go to in whatever city, like it, pick your favorite city that you played for, favorite restaurant to go to in that city.
So I'm gonna blow y'all away with this one, and it's not open no more. OKC, KD's. Kevin Durant had a restaurant in Oklahoma in Bricktown. It was amazing.
What kind of food?
Southern cuisine. It was amazing. And I think it closed not immediately when he went to Golden State, but probably 2 years or something later. But that was a great concept that he had there. It was an amazing restaurant. I don't know if he's opened up more anywhere else, but that was a great spot. I mean,
Wow.
everybody in the league was talking about that spot.
You did just blow my mind. I was not expecting that. First of all, OKC.
Yeah.
Second of all, that it was KD's. You told me that Kobe helped you like learn and watch film a different way. What's, if there's one thing that you took away from those film studies with him that you implement today as a coach?
I think just watching it, like we all have this like observation on how we see ourselves, and um, you can't be defensive when you watch film, you know. And I think the best thing is to have an open mind concept when you're watching it, and you're going to have to unlearn some things to like relearn, you know. So like it's a process of that. So when I used to watch film, for instance, if I'm on the offensive end of the floor, I'm looking at, damn, like I just made that shot. You saw how I got to my shot, but instead of how did I get open, and then how can I get open again and open again, or what else can I do in this situation? Can I get somebody else open? Can I create another advantage from this advantage that I just created? How do I get to this airspace again? How much airspace did I have? Where was the help defender coming from? If I got past this guy, where was the second line of defense? What I had to did I make that shot more difficult than it had to be? You know, and it's just like, it's so many layers of watching film and dissecting it. And I try to teach our guys that when I'm watching it with them, so they can just have like that observation from it. I don't want them to overthink. I want it all to be instinctual, but at the same time, like I want them to understand like the levels and the layers of thinking.
Damn. Well, this will be a much easier question then. Whew. You showed up to every game we ever called wearing Jordans. What is your favorite pair of Jordans that you own?
I'll say the Transformers. I got the Force, the Transformers. They was gifted to me. I went to a Transformers premiere, and they gave me the shoes, and I almost threw them away. At like I had the box, and my car service brought me home, and I was just like, I don't want these damn shoes, and I was about to throw them away, and my daughter was like, "Oh, keep them, Dad." And these shoes are now worth like $30,000.
What?
It's the Optimus Prime's Transformers Jordans.
Have you ever worn them?
I wore them once, courtside at the game. You know, I was coaching. I put them on, but they never touched the ground. I'm not going to sell them or resell them or anything. But I was like, oh man, damn! And I almost threw these shoes away. So these are like one of my favorite shoes. I bust them out every once in a while.
So if it's a big game, you might be seeing the Transformers on your feet.
Yeah, if it's the Heat versus Celtics or something, I'm pulling them out.
All right, awesome. I want to see like KG in the house and you pull out the Transformers and be like, that's right, tough juice with the Transformers. Take that.
Yeah, go time.
Yeah. Hey, I know you got to go get some shots up with your daughter right now. So, Caron, dude, it's been too long since we've seen each other. But just doing this, I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me that you took out the time in your crazy busy schedule. It's a lot of
Hey,
fun.
man. Anytime, brother. You family, man, and I'm proud of you, man. And you doing this thing effortlessly, so it looks good on you, brother.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Let's be in touch and make sure you run some suicides tonight, okay? Get that work in.
Whole lot of rebounds.